Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Deciding to Soar, Living Life Your Own Way. It's SharRon Jamison, and I am so grateful and so honored that you are here. I know that there are many places that you can be, but I am thankful for your time, for your energy, for your essence, for your presence. And I also know that since I transitioned the podcast from a private podcast to a public podcast, it's only through your support and your loyalty and your reviews that the podcast continues to grow. So thank you so much for your loyalty, for your presence, and for supporting this movement. I appreciate you. I thank you, and I'm grateful for you. Well, family, today's episode comes straight from the heart and from some real life experiences. And it was inspired by an article I wrote, some sacred conversations I have had recently, and a personal season of illness that stretched me and humbled me and taught me how to ask for help differently. And if I'm honest, being sick taught me about people and about myself more than I expected. And one of the hardest but most surprising lessons was that it taught me that all help was not healing. All help was not healing. Yes, we all need support, but sometimes the way help is offered or the intentions behind it can hurt us more than heal us. And sometimes the help that people offer can make us feel small and silenced and obligated. And along the way, when I was getting well, I had to make some difficult choices during that time. And I had to ask myself, is this person helping me because they love me or because it makes them feel better? I had to ask myself a question that, does this person really have the capacity to support me? Or are they giving from a place of guilt, pride, or ego? And those questions were hard to ask. And I know I am not the only person wrestling with these types of questions, because just a few nights ago, I had an honest conversation with a group of folks I deeply respect, and we talked about help. We talked about what is it, what it isn't, and what it cost us. And we all agreed on some hard truths that some help comes with strings attached. Some help is really about control. And some help, if it's not about you, is only about the person who is offering the help. And that conversation stayed with me and it stirred me. And so I want to share some of those insights with you today, not to shame, but to shine a light, and not to discourage you from receiving help, but to encourage you to discern the kind of help and discern the types of people that are offering to help you, to make sure the help that you receive really honors your circumstance, but most importantly, honors your heart. Because real support feels like love. It does not feel like leverage. So here are some truths that I want to offer for you to consider and invite you to think about in your own life. And after the podcast, if any of these insights resonate with you, I want you to drop me an email and let me know what feels true for you and how you have handled these situations throughout any transitions where you had to reach out to others for help. So let's talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about and for us to consider, and it's also hard for us to admit, that sometimes help comes with conditions. It comes with expectations, even silent contracts that we never agreed to. And during my illness, I could feel when someone was showing up to serve me and to support me, and when someone was showing up to be seen. And when they were showing up to serve me, it felt like comfort. And when they were showing up to be seen, it felt very performative. And I had to get real about something I had known but never fully faced, that some people help to heal, others help to control, some help to be seen as your savior, and some help to stay close enough to your pain so that they can later use it against you. Family, I don't want to admit it, but that kind of support is not support. It's surveillance. It's ego, it's harm, and it drains us when we are already feeling depleted. So I want to offer you a few reflection, some coaching prompts for you to ask yourself so that you can ensure that you are discerning when people are the right people to support you. Here are some prompts I want you to consider. 1, is this person showing up to serve my needs or to soothe their own discomfort? Is the person showing up to serve my needs or to soothe their own discomfort? Second prompt, does their support make me feel seen, safe, and strengthened, or small, silenced, and indebted? Here's the question again. Does their support make me feel seen, safe, and strengthened, or small, silenced, and indebted? And the third prompt for you to consider is, do I feel like I owe them something in return just for being here? These questions I know are not easy, but they are necessary because sometimes we are accepting help that's actually costing us more than it's contributing to us. So let me say this gently but clearly. Support that compromises your self-worth is not support. It is subtle self-sabotage. I'm going to say that again. Support that compromises your self-worth is not support. It is subtle sabotage. And I want you to really take that into your spirit. The second thing I want you to consider is that I believe that true support must be mutual, even if the exchange doesn't happen at the same time or in the same way. And that's important because help shouldn't come with a ledger, right? Love doesn't keep score. And yet, some people help you with one hand and hold a tally sheet in the other hand. And I have learned that when people help with resentment, control, or future expectations, that's not generosity. It's manipulation in disguise. And so I want to invite you to consider these questions because I feel that when we get help with an invisible ledger, it makes us feel indebted in ways that undermines our dignity. So here's some questions I want you to consider. 1, am I receiving this support freely, or am I trading my peace for their presence? I'm going to say that again. Am I receiving this support freely, or am I trading my peace for their presence? Second question, do I feel safe enough to say no thank you if the support doesn't fit what I need? Here's the question again. Do I feel safe enough to say no thank you if the support that they offer doesn't fit what I need? And here's the third question. Do I have permission to name how I want to be helped? Or are they deciding for me? Again, do I have permission to name how I need to be helped or want to feel helped? Or are they deciding for me how to help me? Because here's the truth. Some help can feel like pressure. And it feels more like pressure when people don't listen, or when people dismiss our preferences, or they try to help us in ways that we don't want to be helped. Because some help doesn't feel like help if the help is not the type of help you need or you don't experience as help. So I want you to really consider when people are helping you, Does the help feel like a burden instead of a blessing? And if you've ever felt that way, please hear this. You are not being ungrateful for not wanting help that doesn't honor your boundaries. You are not being ungrateful for not wanting help that doesn't honor your boundaries. You are not being difficult for naming your needs. And I want you to take that into your spirit. I want you to remember that in your heart. And even if you need help, you still can have boundaries about how the help needs to look and feel so that you still feel human and still feel that you have some dignity, right? So the third thing I want to invite you to consider is, how do we receive help without compromising ourselves? How do we receive help without compromising ourselves? And I think there's a 3-step method that really worked for me, but also worked for many of the people who were participating in that conversation. And it's first, discern; second, decide; and third, define. Again, first, discern; secondly, decide; and third, define. Define what support looks like for you. Family, I have to admit that every act of care should not be accepted. It shouldn't. Because every helping hand is not a healing hand, and every offer does not require a yes. And I had to sit with that. I had to realize that not accepting someone's help doesn't mean I'm rejecting them. It means I'm protecting me. I'm going to say that again. Rejecting someone's help doesn't mean that you are rejecting them. It means that you are supporting yourself. And discernment is not judgment, it's wisdom. It's a way of saying, I love you and I love me too. So I want you to really ask yourself, when you need help, who truly sees me and not just see my struggle, but sees my soul? Who really sees me and not just see my struggle, but sees my soul? The second question I want you to ask is, who has the emotional and spiritual bandwidth to support me? In other words, does the person have the capacity to show up in ways that honor you? And the third question is, who helps me feel more whole, but not more watched, not weighed down, or not more worn down? Here's the question again. Who helps me feel more whole, not more watched, not more weighed down, and not more worn down when they help me? So those are 3 questions to ensure that you are receiving help and receive it in a way that supports you. And it's also 3 questions that help you receive with discernment and dignity and without feeling indebted. So again, as we close, I want to remind you of this. Asking for help is not weakness. Asking for help is wisdom wrapped in courage. 2, receiving help is not about surrendering your power. It's about surrounding yourself with people who know how to pour into you without poisoning you. And the third is that you have a right to still have boundaries even when you need help, which means that you have to receive help with discernment and with dignity. So, family, may you choose help that feels like healing. May you trust help that comes without conditions. And may you give and receive support in ways that preserve dignity, invite mutuality, and honor your soul. And if this episode spoke to you, I encourage you to read the article that inspired this conversation. I will link the blog link it in the show notes. And if you are navigating a hard season or need sacred support, I have a few coaching spaces available in July. And if we're not a good fit for each other, I have many people that I can refer you to who are soul riching, soul centered places that offer confidentiality and sanctuary, because you deserve support in ways that honor your soul. And until next time, stay grounded, stay generous, and most of all, stay true. Remember that you always have the right to choose, even when you need help. And if this message resonates with you, please share it. Please refer it. Please write me a review. And again, please drop me an email at SharRon Jamison at SharRonJamison.com and let me know what resonated with you, and let me know how you have handled situations like this, because I always believe that shared wisdom and collective wisdom help us all win. And if you have some insights, I want to make sure that I share it with others. Thanks so much for listening, and blessings to you always.